Good day, everybody. My name is Ms. Mabor. I welcome you to today's Grade 10 Business Studies lessons. And for today, we'll be focusing on the exam guides, but specifically Paper 1. So this is what we'll be looking at for today. The general information that we have for Paper 1, we'll be looking at the mark allocation and the duration as in how long is the paper. And then we'll be looking at the sections and the mark allocation. Thirdly, we'll be looking at the main topics that we have to focus on. As you know, that business studies is very broad. Like I said, we've got Paper 1 and Paper 2. So Paper 1 has got its own topics as well as Paper 2. Then we'll look at the overall structure. We're going to look at the types of questions. We're looking at the taxonomy levels. We've got different levels of questioning. Then we've got action verbs. Very, very, very important that you understand the action verbs so that you are able to answer accordingly. And then lastly, we'll be looking at the general tips for answering Paper 1. That is very important that you stay tuned, you watch until the end. Right, so the general information about the November Paper 1 is that now, number one, we're looking at the mark allocation and duration. As you know that the paper is out of 150 and it's written for 2 hours, but I'll be explaining this just now. And then the sections and the marks, we'll be looking at the main topics as mentioned and the overall structure. Now, let's start here. Mark allocation and duration. How long is the paper? The paper will be written for 2 hours, 450 marks. So your Paper 1, 150 marks, and it's for 2 hours. Section A is compulsory. What does this mean? It means you answer everything in Section A. Everything has to be answered in Section A. There is no choice, but you just answer everything. Then you go to Section B, you answer only or any 2 questions. What does this mean? It means you'll be given 3 questions, and from the 3 questions, you have to answer any 2, which consist of 80 marks together, but each question is 40 marks. I hope I'm clear. Section A is compulsory. You answer everything under Section A, and it consists of 30 marks. Section B, you answer any 2 questions out of the 3 questions that will be given, and it's 80 marks. And then Section C has got 2 essay questions, but you answer any 1. So here it's 1, and then it's 40 marks each. It's very important that you read the instructions, because if you were to answer everything, then for example in Section B you decide to answer all 3 questions, the marker will mark the first 2 questions that you've answered. Same applies with Section C. If you're going to answer both essays, the marker will only mark the first essay answered. Right, we've got the main topics, like as mentioned, that there are so many topics for business studies. So there are main topics that has to be answered. So Section A, as I've said, it's compulsory, meaning you answer everything. And in your Section A, there are types of questions that you'll be asked. You've got your multiple choice questions, which is out of 10. You've got choosing the missing words, which is also out of 10. Matching columns, column A and column B, which is also out of 10. And total Section A, it's what? At 30 marks. Can you see how simple this is? So if you read your instructions, you'll be able to answer accordingly, but we'll explain a bit more on this as we go on. Right, and then in Section B, you will only answer any 2 questions. Right, so we've got question 2, we've got question 3, and question 4. Remember, I did say that you'll be given 3 questions in Section B, and of the 3 questions, you are required to answer only 2 questions. So you'll choose between question 2, 3, and or 4. Question. You can answer 2 and 4, you can answer 3 or 4, you can answer 3 and 2. It's totally up to you, as long as by the end of the exam for Section B, you've answered 2 questions. Then you have your 80 marks for Section B. And these 2 questions, they come from what? Business environment and business operations. You're probably asking yourself that, where do I get these topics? How do I know that this is environment? How do I know that this is operations? We're going to explain this just now. As long as you understand that in this section, In section B, we've got business operations, business environment, and the miscellaneous topics. I'll explain to you with miscellaneous. Miscellaneous consists of both business operations and business environments and business operations. This is your paper 1. So miscellaneous includes both these questions. They come here. However, these questions are the ones that will not be asked in question 2 and question 3. I will elaborate further as we go on. So don't forget, total for section B is 80 marks. So it's 40 and 40 for your 2 questions that you've chosen. Right. Lastly, in your exam, you've got section C. Remember, we've got section A, B, C. In section C, you only answer 1 question in this section. Any of the 2, you'll be given 2 essay questions, and then you have to answer 1. So now your essay question comes from these 2 topics. It comes from either environments and operations rather. So you'll have question 5, and then there's going to be an essay on business environment. Then there's going to be an essay on business operations. So you have to choose only 1 from these 2 essay questions. Remember, you only answer any one. Should you answer both, then the marker will mark the first one. So save yourself some time, because there's a lot that needs to be done in this exam. All right, as mentioned, section A is compulsory. There's your multiple choice questions. There's choose the missing words, and then there's the matching columns. I'm going to explain that just now. And then section B, we did say that there's business environment, business operation, and miscellaneous. Don't forget that miscellaneous consists of these 2 topics, environments and the operations. They will come to miscellaneous, but it's not going to be a repetition. It's just that it's a question that comes from these 2 topics. So 20 marks will be for business environment, 20 marks will be for business operations. And then section C, as mentioned, it's your essay. There's business environment, which is in question 5, and business operation, which is your question 6. We're going to go on a quick ad break, and when we come back, we continue with our exam guide, grade 10 business studies. I'll see you just now.